Oh, why hello, didn't see you there. Welcome to another episode of Charles Chat, sponsored by Chili's. Chili's, pepper and some fun. I was just reading up on my favorite subject, evolution. You see, while I was on spring break in the Galapagos, I studied the native species of various islands as any good biologist would, and I came up with a theory of evolution, a theory that the differences between modern plants and animals are because of changes that happen by a natural process over a very long time. Fun, eh? But enough of that. This episode we're going to be talking about all kinds of selections. Artificial, disruptive, directional, and the whole shebang. So strap in for a wild ride.
Before speaking more on natural selection, we must get artificial selection out of the way, mainly because it's the first term alphabetically. So let's say that a group of breeders are breeding birds and they want the offspring to have the longest beak possible. The breeders will breed the birds over the course of multiple generations with the offspring whose beaks are longer than the others. After a handful or two of generations, their beak may be 2 feet long. Okay, maybe not that much, but that's the idea.
Now to move on to natural selections, say there is a bird with a beak built for crushing nuts, but as time goes on, the food source of the area transitions from nuts to flower nectar. The birds will ideally evolve to have longer beaks that will retrieve the nectar, while those with the beaks built for nuts will phase out, leaving those with the new extreme variation. This is known as directional selection.
Don't worry, we still have a lot to talk about. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Now at Chili's, choose your 3 favorite apps for our classic Triple Dipper. Chili's. Fresh is happening now.
What happens when the most extreme of traits don't work in nature? To continue with the bird example, a population of birds varies anywhere from a very light color to a very dark color, and anywhere in between. In nature, the most extremes would be the most likely to be noticed by predators, so they're in the middle will have better camouflage and the population will begin to reflect those traits. The whole process being known as stabilizing selection.
Moving out of selection, we have genetic drift. It's similar to directional selection. However, while directional selection has a cause and effect structure based on the environment, genetic drift is entirely random, where in this case, 2 birds have a bunch of offspring and one of them has a random genetic variation that changes the color of their feathers. If this offspring survives better in the environment, then the population will begin to follow suit.
The founder effect occurs when a portion of the population of a species lack variation because it is isolated from the rest of the species. So, in our species of birds, all kinds of color, a small population that consists of one color is blown away in a storm and creates a new branch of the species in the separate geographic location that only consists of that one color. This population, in particular, is an example of geographic genetic isolation.
Thank you once again for watching another episode of Charles Chats with your host, me, Charles Darwin. Join us next week when we'll be discussing armadillo meat, and does it really taste like chicken? Good night, and keep discovering. Is brought to you by Chili's. Chili's, pepper and some fun.